Welcome to the Franchise Freedom Podcast, where you can escape the corporate trap through franchise ownership. Here's your host, Giuseppe Grammatico, the Franchise Guide.
Number 8, I'm worried about being locked into a long-term agreement. There is an agreement between you and the franchisor. Typically, they average about 10 years. I've seen some brands do 5. I've seen some others do 20 years. But really, you're building long-term equity here. That there's going to take time to build the business up, figure out an exit strategy, how you're going to sell, and all that. That long-term agreement locks in the terms. It protects you as the franchisee. Everything has to be laid out exactly how the agreement reads, so that there's no changes. So you know that there's not going to be any crazy changes over those 10 years. And so that is a typical agreement is going to be 10 years. But at any point in time, if you wanted to sell the agreement, you would essentially do a transfer. Someone will pay, there may be a nominal transfer fee, and then the franchisor will have to meet the buyer because that relationship will continue with the buyer. So another good question. Number 9, can I still have a life and spend time with family? Absolutely. And that goes back to picking the right model, spending time with family. We call that time freedom. Time freedom is definitely the number one, followed by financial. If you're running it semi-absentee, they're going to have a train-the-trainer program. How are you going to support me if I keep my job? And then figuring out what is the right franchise, but also equally important, which is not on the franchise, it's on you, is finding the right general manager to run the day-to-day. That general manager needs to be really clear on their job function, the requirements, who handles what, because you want there to be balance. You don't need to be involved on every single call, every single issue or decision. That manager needs to be empowered to make certain decisions. The more empowered they are, the more freedom you'll have, and you're not being involved and having to be in the office or just maybe checking in virtually, doing an hour Zoom call with the office. So those are things to think about. And then again, going back to speaking with franchisees, asking about their work-life balance and asking them for any recommendations on setups, roles for the manager. Maybe they can share a job description. Those will all be great starting points. Number 10, what if I don't like managing people? Another great question, but it goes back to the basics. What is the right fit? You may have management experience, but don't like managing people, and that's okay. Some brands will have higher staff and maybe require you to be full-time. There's going to be a big management function, and maybe that's not a good fit. But if you don't like managing people, you're more big picture, maybe managing a small office of 2 or 3 W-2 employees, and then having your technicians, your labor that are W-9 contractors, you can have your GM handle that, or you just hire someone to deal with the HR while you're overseeing marketing and big picture stuff. It goes back to finding the right franchise where you as the owner don't have to be the manager, managing the entire staff or a portion of the staff and maybe not the technicians and the contractors.
You found a model that fits your management style and growth ambitions. But how much money do you really need to get started? And what if the franchisor changes things after you've signed the dotted line?
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to learn how to make the transition from corporate to owning your franchise, join Giuseppe on the next episode. You can also follow on all social media platforms and achieve financial and time freedom today.